Round one is here. Welcome back to Inside the NRL. Let's take a look at what's coming up. North Queensland Stadium has been declared a sellout. We catch up with the Cowboys skipper Michael Morgan. Plus, will Roger Tuivasa-Sheck be fit for his Warriors? And Darius Boyd announces his retirement, but just how will his career swan song play out? It's the week we have all been waiting for. The NRL Telstra Premiership in 2020 is back. New year, clean slate, and of course that means season predictions. Gents, Michael Chammas, Jamie Soward, are you confident in your choices?
Oh, I tipped Parra to come last year, so no, I'm not confident. Look, I can't wait for Thursday night. Sellout crowd at Bank West. I think that the season is underway, but I'm quietly confident that I think I've got a fair bit of the top 8 right.
Yeah, I think one of the grand finalists from last year will be there again. Which one, I'm not too sure. I think the Raiders, but who knows? We'll find out a bit more later.
Well, you are a little bit sure. Let's get straight into it. Let's look at your top 8. Who have you got and where and why?
Yeah, look, I'm of the opinion at least 2 will drop out from last year. For me, I've left Brisbane out of that top 8. I think they will struggle in 2020. I've brought the Dragons in and I've brought the Knights in. I like what Adam O'Brien has done to that team in Newcastle. I think they'll be a different football team, a far more disciplined football team, and they'll have a stronger mentality around them. That's the talk around Newcastle. There's a lot more intensity around training. So I think the Knights will be there. I think the Eels will be the team to beat, though. I really like the roster that Brad Arthur has assembled. They haven't got a weakness in that 17, so the Eels, for mine, are the team to beat.
Apart from being a fan, what about the Dragons has got you thinking they're going to be in the 8? Because you're the only person I've seen put them in the 8.
Well, to be fair, every time I think the Dragons will do well, they fail. And every time I think they'll do terribly, they do well. So I think they'll do terribly this year. So I've put them in my 8.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah, I did that in my top 8.
Yeah, they have. When the expectation is there, they struggle, Jamie. And I know you've watched the Dragons closely over the years, but they don't deal with that well. And then a couple of years back, we saw how good they were when no one expected them to be.
So, Jamie, he's taken all the pressure off the Dragons because they're watching very closely at what Michael is doing. Now, let's talk about your top 8. Who have you got in your top 8?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be much change. I've only got one change of my teams that made the top 8 last year, just a different order. I think the Penrith Panthers, with Nathan Cleary and Jerome Luai, will be able to make the jump into 6th there. But other than that, there's just a bit of reordering. I made the mistake last year of writing the Storm off and got them to finish 8th. They ended up finish in that top 2. So I think this year, they still stay up there. They're just better in the regular season than other teams. They know how to win away. They know how to win gritty. They know when they're tired, they can still get up for those games. So, but I agree with my counterpart here, Michael. I think that the Parramatta Eels, it is made for them to win the comp or finish in that top 2 or 3 this year and have a home semi-final and play in a grand final, because Bank West is, at the moment, until we see the Cowboys Stadium, obviously, it's the best place for them for footy to be played, and they're going to be able to reap all those rewards.
You and I both left out the Sharks from that 8. Why?
I did power rankings today, and there's a lot of disruption in and around the Sharks. They never seem settled, and never hear how good they've had a week of training. It always seems to be a drama, whether it's off field or on field. And if they're all fully fit, Moylan, Dugan, Morris, all those guys, then they are a force to be reckoned with. But I think last year probably got turned off a little bit with the Sharks on how Sean Johnson adapted to playing outside Chad Townsend. Chad Townsend was their best player last year, and Sean Johnson, for me, didn't really live up to what they needed from him week after week. So I've got them missing out. I think it might be a little bit of a slow start until they sort these outside backs out. And they haven't shown in last year that they can get the best team on the field week after week.
You mentioned their outside backs. We'll have an update of that in the Chemist Warehouse Casualty ward. But I've picked my top 8, the predicted top 8, and I've actually gone with South Sydney Rabbitohs to be there at the end of 25 rounds, along with the Raiders. I had my Knights in the top 8 as well as you, Michael, and I think my differences was I have the Cowboys in the 8. I cannot see them missing the 8 this year. I know you didn't want to put pressure on the Dragons, so you put them in your 8, but I'm a Titans fan. I kept them out of the 8 for the first time that I've ever tipped, because I thought reverse psychology, maybe no pressure, and Justin Holbrook can lead the Titans to a top 8 finish.
They'll be better. The Titans will be better. I don't think they'll make the 8, but...
Well, interesting you had Bunnies, for me, up the top, because that's going to be one of the best spines in the competition if it clicks. Yeah. It's the forward pack to be able to get them on the front foot, to be able to give them opportunity. So I think the Cowboys, if they don't get it right early, in that big stadium, and we talk about Friday night, they may be chasing their tails for the rest of the year. So you may find that it takes 1 or 2 weeks. Brisbane get up there, they play in front of a big crowd, all against them. If they go 0-1 at home, then all of a sudden Val doesn't have a great game, Michael Morgan's still working things out with his new halves partner. It's like the last 2 years. They just keep chasing their tail the whole year and they miss the 8.
Yeah, for sure. And I think my only concern for the South Sydney Rabbitohs is if the forwards don't work. But I think if there's a person to do it, Wayne Bennett can get that team clicking. All right, Premiers, who is your choice to take out the Premiership, Michael?
Yeah, we discussed it. Parramatta for mine. I think, look, you can't ignore the Roosters. They're going to be there or thereabouts, and they're still a good football team, even without Latrell Mitchell and Cooper Cronk. But you want someone different. You want to pick someone different. And for me, that is Parramatta. I think Mitchell Moses is in for a big year. I think Clint Gutherson is in for a big year. And that forward pack is as good as you're going to get. Junior Paulo, Regan Campbell-Gillard up front, and Sean Lane with Ryan Madison and Nathan Brown. It's as good as you're going to get.
Yeah, if they can win away from home this year, they'll certainly put themselves in a position. I like Canberra. I think Canberra and Para will sort of be in and around that grand final mix. But the Roosters, you can't write them off. You can't write Melbourne off. That's why I don't think there'll be many changes inside that top 8. But Canberra, if you lose one like that when they probably should have won, they just got out, I guess, played in the big moments. So I'm expecting those teams to be back there again. But Parramatta have got the most expectation of any club this year in 2020.
The only weakness in Parramatta is the depth around the hooker role, because without Reid Marnie, they probably haven't got a lot. So as long as they are fit.
Yeah, but they've got options. They can play Nathan Brown, they can play Jamin Salmon. They've got guys that can come in. Will Smith. Yeah, guys that it's important to have a good squad if you're going to win the competition, because you're going to have games where maybe Reid Marnie is rested throughout the year. If they start 5-0 or 4-1, maybe he just goes, right, we'll just hold you back this week. Will Smith comes in, plays 20 minutes. Nathan Brown, they get the job done. Okay. They've got a big enough forward pack to be able to move Nathan Brown around. That's the luxury Brad Allen has.
The biggest challenge for them is dealing with the expectation. They haven't had to deal with this before. Those Parramatta fans.
Biggest challenge for them is winning away from Sydney.
Well, they don't have to do that often.
Yeah, but winning outside Bank West.
Yeah, let's talk about the big improver. I like this one. This one is for the dark horse. So this has to be a team that wasn't in the 8 last year. And if we take a look at the screen, it is definitely a trend. History shows that a team that didn't make the 8, Raiders the most recent, 10th, then last year, of course, finished 4th, went on to be runner-up. Who is your pick to be dark horse, Jamie?
Yeah, I've got the Penrith Panthers. I think last year they massively underachieved with a couple of other teams, but this year we've heard a lot of talk about Jerome Luai for a long time and the combination with Nathan Cleary. But Apa Coruscant, for me, is the key to that, unlocking that attack. So I think they're the big movers in 2020.
What about for you, Michael?
For me, it's Newcastle. Touched on it earlier. I think if Kalen clicks with Mitchell Pearce and David Clemmer, with a coach who knows what he wants from his team, they'll make the top 8.
Okay. Is it too early to talk about Dally M medalists? We're going to do it anyway. We need your male picks. I know a ball hasn't been kicked, but who do you have, Michael?
Mitchell Moses, for me. I think he's about to enter that superstar category in the game. We've seen James Tedesco do it over the last few years. He's good mate from the Tigers. I think this is now made for Mitchell Moses to be the dominant playmaker, not only at the club, but in the NRL. We saw bits and pieces of that last year, and he led the Eels to the finals. I think this is his year to win that Dally M.
Yeah, don't worry, viewers. I'm going to agree with him, but it'll only be early on in the season. I think Mitchell Moses will be up there as well. He has all the tools around him now, and his game looks like it's matured to a level where he's comfortable within himself to take the pressures on and not look around to blame other players when things aren't going right. So I think he'll be there. James Tedesco, Josh Hodgson as well.
You've got to pick
the players. Yeah, I said Moses. But those
so you're going to go with Moses?
In and around it as well. So the competition doesn't change much from year to year in terms of that elite talent. And now it's those guys are already in that bracket. We're going to see if Mitchell Moses can make the jump up into that elite bracket. Okay, so you've both agreed on the same for the male Dally medalist. That's nice. There's going to be some peace and quiet at the end of the season. What about for female Dally medalist to be you?
Look, I've gone Maddie Studden. Obviously, she had a breakout year last year. Obviously, some disappointments 12 months prior, but I think she's primed for a big year. Obviously, Jess Surges last year was incredible, but I think Maddie Studden's in for a big year.
Yeah, Dragons are in for a big year. If they don't win it this year, they're going to be they have to look at what they're doing down there because they've bought really well. I think Chelsea will do too. This front row is it's time that a forward gets rewarded for the game, and you see how she's made so many strides in her game. She was one of their best players for the Broncos over in the Nines, and I think she's going to take the competition by storm.
I like it. I like both of your choices. Chelsea Lenarduzzi, her nickname is Sock Bay. She has more than 200 pairs of socks, believe it or not. Fun fact. All right, Rookie of the Year. You've both gone for different halfbacks. Michael, you tell me a bit about your choice.
Yeah, I've gone with Penrith's Matt Burton. He won't start the year in first grade, but we saw a little taste of him last year, and I like what he offers. He's a big boy. He's obviously a bit bigger than your usual half, but I think he'll get a chance in the halves with Nathan Cleary, and just what he can do. We saw a little bit of that, with that deft touch with his boot. I think he's going to be something special.
Yeah, he's a great young kid. I like to see the rookies. We don't really know what coaches are thinking in terms of injuries and who gets thrown in there, but Brandon Wakeham, I thought he was going to be the starting half, and it looks like he may be for the Bulldogs on Thursday night. His maturity levels playing for Fiji and having to boss those guys around, all those rep players, he's taken a lot of stride in getting his game right. So I think, having watched him a couple of times last year, I think he's going to be the Rookie of the Year.
Some footy fans might not even know who he is, but he was even a contender for Golden Boot, which is crazy.
Yep.
23. All right, now, you've both gone with halfbacks, and then I'm also concerned you've both agreed on the wooden spooners for 2020 as well. Is it any surprise that you've both gone for the New Zealand Warriors?
No. When you no one wants to pick a wooden spooner, and having talked to a few players, and they say, oh, you tipped us to come here, and this and that, and no one wants to tip a wooden spooner, but it's part of our job to do it. And you look at the squad from 1 to 30, and the Warriors, unfortunately, haven't made purchases in the areas that they need to, and there's a lot of uncertainty still around who is the number 6 outside Blake Green from week to week. Is it Chanel Harris-Tavita, who was great last year without Blake Green, and then you've got Adam Kieran as well. Blake Green's off contract, so I think that they'll get the wooden spoon this year.
Yeah, I'm worried about what happens in New Zealand this year. They let go of Sean Johnson in the hope of building something in the years to follow, and that team's not better than what it was 12 months ago. So I think the Warriors in for a world of pain.
Okay, well, they've got 25 rounds to prove themselves. But Michael, today in the Sydney Morning Herald, you did have an article that had a poll as well, asking if you could sign any NRL player, who would it be? And it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, we asked the club chairs and CEOs as part of that poll, and Tom Trbojevic. I expected James Tedesco would win this comfortably, but Tom Trbojevic, with almost a quarter of the votes, topped that list there. And look, to be honest, it's hard to argue when he's fit, because I think he's at where James Tedesco was 4 years ago. Injury plagued, he plays so well when he does, but his body's letting him down. If he goes through a run that Tedesco goes through with his body, and then he can be anything.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking for. If you're signing just for 1 year, I mean, it has to be Cameron Smith. He's still the best player in the game. So, but if you're going off, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, I like Cameron Murray. I think, he holds himself very, very well. Can play in the middle. Looks like he's going to be versatile. So, I'd have him. Okay.
Well, Michael, you did your poll. So we've actually done a bit of our poll.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have. But no, don't you smile. Don't you smile.
Here we go.
We've gone to the players to ask a bit about you two and who they'd pick, if they'd go Team Chamis or Team Jamie. But before we hear from the players, who do you both think? Do either of you have confidence that you have the players backing you? Are either of you confident?
He's friends with a lot more players than what I am. As soon as I finish here, I go back in.
As soon as you finished, what about when you... Oh, I thought you mean when you finished your career.
No, I don't socialise with the players too much, so probably I might be a landslide to the little fella.
What, you're doubting yourself?
No, that's part of the strategy. He doesn't sell himself very well.
I hope not.
What about yourself, Michael? Do you think you've got this in the back?
Oh, look, probably not. They hate me. You're right.
Talk to a lot of players.
Yeah, but when you write things about them, they learn to hate you. So, unfortunately, I think I'm going to be in that category.
Oh, I thought you guys were going to come out real confident. Let's take a listen to what the players have to say.
Sowie, because he's a brother boy.
I'll have to say Sowie.
Just Team Sowie, he just always backs me up. Come on, man. Whoever I say is not going to just pizzle us.
I've got to go Team Sowie.
Will this come back to bite me? Oh, Jesus. Team Sowie. Team Soured.
I know, I don't like Chamis too.
He picked me on his celebrity game in the NBL, so yeah, Team Sowie.
I've got to back a player before the journalist.
He's a former player, played against Jamie, so I wanted to jump on his team. Every time I watch it, he's saying some good stuff about the old guys, because he used to be in my shoes, and I'm older.
I'm going to say both.
You can't.
Sit on the
Team
fence.
Katie Brown.
I'm going to sit on the fence.
I'll probably say Team Chamis.
Team Chammers.
Thanks, boys.
Well, some of the
Another
guys
win.
I thought for sure would have my back. Jake Trebojevic, what are you doing? I've looked after that kid since he was a teenager.
You're going to have to make some calls, mate, I think.
What a waste.
A couple of
You're
the
in a
brothers
bit of
looking after me there.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I was
Thanks, boys.
actually, I thought you would go in more confident than that, and I thought you both would, but
Well, I'm used to handing out L's to him when I argue him, so it's another one to the...
now you can be a humble champion.
Nah, thanks, boys. It was nice.
Ask Aiden Caesar what he thinks about.
See, there's always a dig. He's just got to come back with just
He wins,
a little
fair and
nibble.
square. Fair and square.
Yeah, anyway, I took great joy out of that. Anyway, next we will have Michael Morgan on the show, but first, we know the Queensland Cowboys and the Brisbane Broncos rivalry is always huge up there in North Queensland and, of course, at Brisbane. Let's take a look.
This is just about the biggest rodeo anywhere in the world. Morgan crosses the 20. Milner scored in the corner.
Anthony Milford's been the go-to man with the 1 point. And here he goes.
Nicarima goes back to Milford. He strikes it on the 40-metre line. It's got this thing from 40 metres out. Thurston's there. Thurston with a chance to win it. Thurston, he's done it again. Cummins the hour. Cummins the champion. 30 seconds left. Are they safe here, Brisbane? Can the Cowboys do it again? Thurston, inside pass. They're in it. The upright has denied him. They've got 2 tackles to win it. Turpin's got it in one hand. Turpin will score the match winner.
It's really hard to believe just how good this showdown has been between these two clubs.
This is just about the biggest rodeo anywhere in the world.
Well, these two Queensland teams never disappoint on the big stage, and I'm joined now by Michael Morgan, the North Queensland Cowboys skipper. Thanks for coming on Inside the NRL.
No worries, thanks for having me. Sorry,
Only a few more nights. Pardon me?
Sorry, I'm in my car. I was on
No,
my
that's
phone.
okay. We know that you were parked and nothing bad can happen. But hey, in a few nights you play against the Brisbane Broncos. First game at North Queensland Stadium. You will lead the boys out. Does it feel a bit surreal?
It does, yeah. It's a little bit strange, to be honest. It's something I've never sort of done in my career, obviously. So it's a brand new first for me. But it is exciting. It's the whole town and community is excited. We spent a little bit of time there last week to have a look around and get used to the facilities. So yeah, it's going to be a good night.
Michael, obviously all eyes off the field will be on the stadium, and obviously moving back in, a lot of excitement around that. But on the field, the return of Valentine Holmes to Rugby League. Can you talk a little bit about the hype up in North Queensland? Obviously, not just with the fans, but yourself as well, and the players around what he can do for the team.
Yeah, it is exciting. He's the type of player we haven't really had for a fair while now. He's someone who, you can get the ball to him in space, and he normally creates something from that. We've all seen how quick and powerful he is. So look, he's gelled with the team really well too. Away from footy, he's fit in. Like he's been here for years. So I always knew that would be the case. I obviously have a good relationship with him, so I knew that wouldn't be a problem at all. But look, he's had a really good pre-season. He's worked hard. He came back earlier than he had to from New York, so he could spend a bit more time with the group and get used to it all. So. Yeah, look, I'm excited for him. Like you said, it's an exciting time for the club to have someone like him come home.
Do you think, Michael, I know you two have a relationship off the field as well, but do you think he is the missing link that Cowboys have needed for so long?
Look, you always hope to have those type of players in your team, and there's not many sort of in the NRL, so you're lucky when you do come across, someone like him or a player like him. So yeah, look, especially probably the last couple of years, we have missed that strike power and that bit of X factor in our team. So look, him along with a couple of other guys, they're set for big years, and it's certainly a handy pickup for us.
Michael, it's a brand new spine for you with Val at the back and obviously Reece Robson as well, but it's the number 6. You haven't really had a halves partner settle in and play their game and be able to complement you. How are Jake Clifford and Scott Drinkwater going, and are we going to see that combination flourish off the back of what you've been able to teach them in the off-season?
Look, I hope we do. They both had good pre-seasons though. You're right. Last year, in the halves, we were sort of thrown all over the place at times. So it's not since probably Tamari in 17 where we've had a stable halves pairing. So Look, it has been good. It's been a work in progress. Obviously, Bale coming back changed things for Drinky a bit. He spent a bit more time training the halves through the pre-season, but it hasn't bothered him. He's, you look at the personality of him. Those little things don't really affect him at all. He's, doesn't care where he plays or what he does. He just gets the ball if he sees something and can create things. And he's a different player to Cliffo. Cliffo's probably a bit more structured and organised and likes to know what's going on, whereas Drinky's a bit more off the cuff. So, look, they'll both, I think, complement Bale a lot. So, whoever Greeny goes with, I'm sure, the three of them together have done some good things.
Michael, can you take us inside your frame of mind, mate, the last 18 months? Because your body, it's plagued you a little bit. You haven't been able to get to the best footy you've played in previous years. Did you think your best was behind you? And how confident are you in your body being able to withhold the rigours of another season?
Look, I'm not... I wouldn't say that my best is behind me. I'd like to think that I can get back to a decent standard of footy consistently. I thought last year was, up and down. Some games good, some games bad. Patches in games were good and patches in games were bad. So, look, and that probably reflected our year a little bit with the inconsistency, whether it be positions or, results. So, look, I'm excited that it's my first full pre-season for, I think, since 2014. So it's the first one I've either been here for the whole thing, and whereas the one last year I was injured, so I've been fit the entire time. So, look, I'm hoping that puts me in a good position to, to start off our year really well while we're trying to, build combinations and work out the way we really want to play. I'm hoping the work that I've done through this pre-season has put me in good stead.
Morgan, how have you been able to deal with the leadership? Obviously, a lot of turnover in terms of senior players the last couple of years. You lose JT, now Matt Scott. How does the captaincy sit with you now? And like that you're fully fit, are you looking forward to taking on that leadership role a bit more?
Yeah, I am. It sits well with me now. Last year, there was a part of me that felt a bit bad about it for Thumper. Obviously, being the leader here for so long, so that sort of just being, I guess, my personality and the respect I have for Thumper probably made me doubt it a little bit. Whereas this year, I'm super keen to get into it. Like I said, I've had a good pre-season. We've sort of got to a point where we want to be, and I'm happy with where I'm at with that. I've still got good guys around me. Gav Cooper's still here. He's been around a long time. Jason's really developed into a leader for us, as have a few other guys. So look, there's still plenty of help around me. I don't feel like it's all on my shoulders or anything like that. I'm lucky that there's still good guys around the club.
Michael, you mentioned Thumper. That's of course Matt Scott. Can you just give us a quick update? How is he doing?
Yeah, he's good. We caught up on the weekend, and it was unfortunate the way his career finished. So he didn't really get to, I guess, reflect or do anything to celebrate his career last year. So the other night there was about 40 people. We had a nice little dinner, and it was really good actually. Just to, I guess, it was a time to reflect on his career and appreciate everything he did do. So I was very grateful to be a part of it and be there to see it. So, but yeah, he's fit and healthy now. He's doing really well.
Great to hear. I know it was such a scary time when he did suffer that stroke, but we won't hold you up. I do just have to say congratulations. I know you and your wife Brianna are expecting your firstborn, so fatherhood, look out.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Another exciting thing to happen this year. So mid-August we're expecting it. So
yeah, that's great news. Congratulations.
Well at the moment.
Yes,
Thank
but
you.
First things first, football Friday night. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Do appreciate it.
That game will be an absolute cracker up at Townsville, I'm sure. The whole town will be painted blue and yellow, don't you think, gents?
Maybe.
Yeah. Come on.
Like dark blue.
That was such an awkward pause.
Well, blue and yellow for me
Parramatta
is,
for a second.
Parramatta.
Yeah.
Good segue, Katie, into sweet and sour. Look, sweet. I think the way that Parramatta have built this off-season and then also selling out Bank West, what an atmosphere that is going to be. I can't wait for 8 o'clock on Thursday night, beg your pardon. And you think of all the hype around a team and you want to get out there. It's a real good chance for the Bulldogs, actually, because they've had a lot of hype with their young guys. But this Parramatta team, there is no weakness in 1 to 17. And to have 40,000, first game of the year, sell out, that house is going to absolutely be rocking. You heading out?
Sweet. So you haven't gone bitter yet. I want the soured.
No, we'll just wait and see what happens this weekend.
He'll come back firing next week. There'll be something that upsets him over the weekend.
I like it. I like when Jamie's happy. It means everything's flowing nice and smoothly. All right, it's now time for the Chemist Warehouse Casualty Ward. So this week into round one, of course, there are 3 skippers that are not going to be playing or very unlikely to play. Moses Mbai will be sidelined for the West Tigers. Alex Glenn looking highly unlikely still with that hamstring issue. And then across the ditch, NRL.com reporter Corey Rosser did catch up with captain Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, who is still battling that foot injury. He said he couldn't put full weight on it, but the club are insisting that he is staying positive and could be back to play on Saturday night against South Sydney Rabbitohs. Gents, out of those 3 skippers, who is the most valuable out?
Roger, no brainer. Yeah.
That'd be devastating for them, especially playing the Bunnies, who are going to look to try and make a statement early on. But the Warriors need all hands on deck each week.
They cannot afford to start slow, so that's a huge loss for the Warriors. They're a team they're a momentum team. They start to lose games of footy, it'll unravel pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, that one is, of course. Sorry. I'm just going through the notes as well. The other major news is Josh Dugan and Matt Moylan. They're unlikely to play. They're up against South on Saturday night. Bronson Xerri battling that shoulder injury. John Morris said that he's about a 50% chance. We'll know which way the Cronulla back 5 line up in 24 hours when Zach Bailey brings back NRL teams at 3:55 tomorrow. And just quickly in the women's game, Ali Brigginshaw did suffer a syndesmosis injury and has been sidelined for up to 8 weeks, but she should be fit to play Origin on the 19th of June. And that wraps up the Chemist Warehouse Casualty Ward for round 1. Hit or miss? All right. If we look at question 1, gents, Darius Boyd, he's announced his retirement. Will he play at least 10 games this season, hit or miss?
I say hit. 10 games. I think they owe him respect up there to give him the chance to make that position his own. I just don't know about Brisbane. I didn't have Brisbane in my 8, so I don't know if Brisbane will have a good year. And if things don't go well for Brisbane, then the pressure will be on Anthony Seibold to make changes. Darius Boyd doesn't deserve to go off playing reserve grade. And I think, Darius Boyd himself, and you've played with him, Sao, he'll know if he's not playing to the standard that's needed of that Broncos team. I think he'll get through 10 games. I don't know if he'll see the whole season in first grade.
I think he will. I think he'll relish the fact that he's made the decision now to move on in retirement at the end of the year, and he doesn't have the captaincy, so he can just go about preparing himself to play each week and making the moves to the centres. He may even spend some time on the wing, one of the best wingers in terms of that rep football that we've seen, along with Brett Morris. So, look, an absolute great guy. I'm happy he's made his decision now, and I really hope that this year he comes out and plays some, great footy, not back to where 2010 and those years, but certainly just some free footy to go out and enjoy it, because, now that you've made that decision, it really is a weight off your shoulders. I think we might see, Darius turn back the clock a little bit.
The defence is his key, though, right? Because there was some embarrassing moments.
The defence is everyone's key,
yeah,
though.
But playing in the centres.
Yeah, but mate,
he gets that right. That's the job done.
You know what? The people that have said, Darius the last 2 years. Have a look at the 12 players that those players had to beat before it got to Darius, okay? Go back and look at some of those efforts before we judge a person being sidestepped. Go back, I mean, I'd hate to go back.
That's not what I'm saying, James.
I'm saying I'd hate to go back
and to the centres.
Yeah, this year.
For him, it's not about attack. They just need to make sure that his defence is...
What do you think is easier to defend in? When you're in a segment where it's left edge, right edge? Because that's going to be a lot easier for Darius to be able to make decisions rather than hopefully, at the fullback when you got team. They weren't good last year, the Broncos.
No, they won't.
Make a lot of decisions on the run. I'm sticking up for him. I think that he'll be able to get the job done this year in the centres.
It'd be nice to see, and I'm sure the Broncos would like to see him perform at his best. Before we get to the next statement for hit or miss, I caught up with Adam Blair last week at the New Zealand Warriors launch, and of course he's the Māori captain for the All-Stars. I know it was last month, but take a listen to what he had to say about hosting the All-Stars match in New Zealand next year.
I don't know, when you talk about, I guess, family, culture, those must be my values that I live by. I don't really talk about it too much, but when I get an opportunity, I try and be proud of those kind of things.
You can definitely see how much it means to the Māori captain. Gents, with that being said, New Zealand should host All-Stars in 2021. Hit or miss?
Hit for me. I think that the way that both those cultures have taken that game now the last 2 years, and especially with Adam Blair at the helm for the Māoris, I think that they deserve a chance to be also able to show off their culture as well over there. So, and if you ask the Indigenous boys, they understand how big this game is, not just for the Indigenous culture, but the Māori culture as well. So I'd love to see it go 1 for 1. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, it's a hit. It should be there, but realistically, I don't think it will be there. I think plans are already in place from the NRL to play it in Australia, but they are talking about potentially playing a game in New Zealand, moving the concept over in 2022 at the earliest. So great idea, and I think it's where the game actually belongs. I think they should play that there alternate years, one here, one there, but I don't think it'll happen in 21.
Okay. Last but not least, a big talking point has been whether or not the Morris brothers will be able to play out their NRL careers together at the Sydney Roosters. Brett Morris spoke to media today. Take a listen.
What would it mean for you to be able to finish your careers together?
Do you know something I don't know? Oh, look. Obviously we started together. We've played rugby leagues our whole lives, and it was a childhood dream to play rugby league at this level. So, if that were to happen, it'd be pretty cool. But it's not something that, as I said, I'm spending a lot of time or energy on.
With that being said, the Morris brothers will be at the Roosters by season's end. Hit or miss, Michael?
Hit. They'll be there. Give them a few weeks. They'll sort out whatever they need to sort out, salary cap wise, and I think you'll find Josh Morris is in with the reigning premiers and his brother.
That's the best giggle ever. Oh, it just brought back so many memories. I actually sat next to Brett, and what a great rugby league player, but even better bloke. What was the question? I'm lost.
They'll be together by the end of the season.
Look, they'll be there. But I hope so, because those guys share a really special bond, off the field as well. So I'd be the Roosters fans want him. Look, Sharks fans may feel differently. If they start the year well and he's a vital piece, it'd be hard to let him go. But I think they will be.
To be honest, I don't blame Cronulla if they stand in his way. Like, I know as you said, the emotion and sentiment around him playing with his brother.
A lot of fans are saying that if you don't want to be there, why keep him? If he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, but that's not the sort of bloke he is. He's not going to kick stones.
No, I know he's not. I'm just saying, if he's actively seeking and wanting to be out, and
they need him, Jamie. They need him. They may not need him to play centre when Bronson and Jesse Ramien are fit, but Josh Dugan, Matt Moylan, question marks all the time. Bronson Cherry's in doubt. They need Josh Morris, and until they don't, I don't blame them for not giving him up.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the brothers play out their NRL careers how they want to play out their NRL careers, but of course it is a business. Jamie, power rankings, what have you got for us in 2020, week 1?
Yeah, power rankings. Look, the Roosters are back-to-back champs. They remain number 1 going into this week's first round. Unfortunately for the Warriors fans, the only way is up, so they started down the bottom. But every Monday we're doing the power rankings again this year. I love doing the power rankings. I love looking forward and looking at the injuries and who they're playing, all that kind of stuff. So midday every Monday, the power rankings will be up on NRL.com.
Make sure you tune in. Of course, tomorrow, though, teams start for round 1. Zach Bailey is back at the desk, coming to you with Brett Kamorley and Robbie Farah. 3:55 for round 1 team list, so we'll have all of that info in there. But other than that, gents, that wraps up round 1 for us. And of course, we did talk about Darius Boyd announcing his retirement. So for us today, we're just going to take a look back at all of his highlights over his career. Until next Monday, have a good one.
Ball for Berrigan, out for Boyd, and Boyd is over on the move. Now Darius Boyd, the 19-year-old, he scores Brisbane's 3rd try.
Boyd over in the corner. We have seen that move so many times for the Brisbane Broncos.
Berrigan with the ball, out the back it comes, Boyd will get over.
Boyd with the stop.
Here comes Boyd with a classic. Intercepted by Darius Boyd. Oh, what a glorious try. And Boyd has broken into the backfield. Boyd swerves, he's got him in his sights, he's over. Boyd scores. Goes to Boyd. Darius shows and goes.
The ball to Darius Boyd. He'll go all the way. Boyd, did he get it down?
And how good's this? A grandstand finish from Boyd. He collects 4 points.
Boyd through a gap. Here he goes for his 3rd try ever. He does that for the Dragons. Boyd wraps around the back. Darius Boyd to the line and gets there. Sends it out for Boyd. There's numbers. Darius cuts through. Boyd will score.
Darius Boyd got there first.
Out to Boyd. Right foot step. Darius is over. Goes back in for Darius to score. The captain gets a try.